Hello everybody, it's Kat here again, and today, while Harper's sleeping, we're going to work on a little bit of yoga for the whole back. So this is a nice slow flow, really nice deep holds, and we're working on opening up, strengthening, stretching all through that back. So get on your mat if that's comfortable for you, or you might like to practice on a carpet, wherever works, doesn't make a difference to me. We're just going to start by taking some nice deep inhales and exhales through the nose and the mouth. Sometimes as we're doing these breaths, it's nice to envision a wave rising up, coming to a peak as you hold, and then falling and crashing. Now, if it's comfortable for you, we're going to head into a nice Ujjayi breath. So for those that haven't watched my other video, you're going to be using your pointer finger and your thumb on either side of your nose, and you're going to breathe in and out through the other nostril. In through that same nostril and out through the other nostril. Continue this for a few cycles of breath. Start to feel your body calming down. Now just continue to breathe in and out through your nose. And we're going to start by lifting the shoulders and then bringing them down the back. As a lot of people probably already know, the neck, the shoulders, the back, the hips, they're all very connected. Tension in one area can definitely lead to tension in other areas. Switch directions, and we're going to start going forwards. Now I'm going to ask everyone to go in gentle circles, however feels comfortable for you. Just nice circles. If bigger circles feel better, do bigger circles. If smaller circles feel better, do smaller circles. We're just really warming up through that whole body. I'm actually doing this lovely full spine yoga practice. Now just do seated cat-cow. So first you're going to come and you're going to round through the back and you're going to bring the chin in towards the chest. Then you're going to open up and lift the chin. And only go as far as is comfortable for you. I'm doing this because I've been having a bit of low back pain, as I discussed earlier in the week. I actually went to a chiropractor this morning. Now lean the neck over to one side, and I'm finding a lot of relief so far from that, so I'm very appreciative. His name is Dr. Hall, and he's out here in Long Island, and I'm very appreciative to him, switch sides, for giving me some relief. Really, if you've suffered with any type of back pain, any type of pain at all, like from an injury, you know it's very frustrating. It's frustrating not to be able to do your normal routine. I was planning on doing a lower body workout today, but I've decided that instead, I'm going to spend this weekend resting. I'll do some nice neck rolls. I'm going to spend this weekend resting and rejuvenating, making sure that I'm not starting to show symptoms of overtraining. I'll be posting a video soon about signs and symptoms of overtraining. And I've been feeling tired. My body's been feeling pretty sore. Bring your hands behind that neck. We're going to go open and close. Open and close. I have this little back thing going on, so between all of that, I decided it's probably best and a good idea to take a little break for a few days, just till Monday. I did work out 4 times this week, so it's not my usual amount of time, but you have to work with your body. Every week is going to be a little bit different. You have to go with what your body's telling you. Now I'll come straight on so that you can see. I'm going to take off my sweatshirt, continue breathing. Pull my pants here a little bit. Okay. Now you're going to lean over to one side. If it's comfortable, look up at that hand. Just hold there for a second. Maybe you'll want to go into some nice big shoulder circles. Continue to feel that nice stretch in that side. Switch directions if you're doing these shoulder circles. And come down to the other side. I'm going to move over a little so I have plenty of room. I'm going to go back into those shoulder circles because those were feeling comfortable for me. Like I said, if it doesn't feel comfortable, don't do it. You don't have to. Switch directions. Okay, now we're going to come up. Bring both hands up overhead, press, and then you're just going to come forward over those legs. And hold there for a moment. Great job, everybody. Now we're going to switch the cross of our legs and go back into those nice circles through our whole body. Getting it loose, because the important part is not just training to get ourselves stronger, not just tightening up, but maintaining the flexibility in our body as we're building muscle, as we're growing in a good way. Do a couple more of those shoulder shrugs if those have been feeling good for you. Lift the arms up overhead, and this time, lean over, holding one wrist, and look up if that feels comfortable for you. Switch sides. Get a nice stretch through that side body, and then bring those arms back behind. We're going to do an opposite pose to the one we did, and we leaned forward. Now we're stretching out the chest in a different way. If you want to stretch out those forearms as well, just point the fingers in towards the body and stretch. Okay. Come back up towards center. Get a few more of those full body circles. Find what feels comfortable. And now, I'm going to ask you to come into a nice butterfly pose, because like I said, the whole body is connected. So if you're finding tightness in your lower back, that could very well be because you're having tight hip flexors in front. If you're finding that your thoracic spine, you're finding a lot of tightness there, it might be because you're hunching forward because of some sort of tightness in your chest. So we really want to make sure that we're not just, come forward if that feels comfortable for you, we're not just stretching the parts along our spine, but we are also stretching the parts that might be causing the tightness in our spine in the first place. So things like hip flexors for the lower back, your chest muscles for the upper back. Maybe you have either too weak or too tight abs. It all really depends for the thoracic spine. Come forward. And then you're just going to bring those legs out a little bit farther forward. Now we're in a diamond position rather than a cobbler's pose. And I'm going to stay up high. I'm not going to come all the way down for this one. I don't want to put that much stress on my lower back, but I do want to get that nice stretch through my hips, through that whole pelvic region. Do a nice little sway if that feels comfortable for you. If not, you can stay still. Then you're going to come back up, bring those legs in together. We're going to go into a nice reverse plank to stretch out that whole back and front body. To also build a little bit of heat before we head into the rest of our stretch. Separate those legs a little bit. Give those ankles a nice roll out. Even though we're stretching the spine, we don't want to forget anywhere along the way. I'm going to pick up my right leg. You can pick up whichever leg you'd like to start with, and I'm just going to rock it. If this doesn't feel comfortable for you with this grip, feel free to just hold the leg like this. Make sure that you're giving it plenty of support as you're rocking it. We're trying to loosen up through that hip flexor. Starting with a bit of a mobility exercise before we get into a longer static hold. Switch directions. Then you're just going to leave your knee here, down forward. And we're going to lean slightly into this. You don't need to come all the way out. I'd actually prefer if you didn't, into that full hamstring stretch. We're just really stretching out that whole back and front body. Hold here for a moment. Don't forget about that breath. Come back to it in these more still moments. Now we're going to switch legs. Pick up that opposite leg. Hold it whichever way is comfortable for you. Give it a little stretch. Before we get into any deeper hip mobility, we want to make sure that we're warm. When you're ready, drop that ankle right above that opposite knee. And we're just going to hold here. Get a nice little hamstring stretch. Maybe you're feeling this a little bit even in your hips. Ooh. This tattoo is very itchy. Bring both legs out in front of you. We're going to head into a more traditional hamstring stretch, but I want you to keep the importance on not having a large curve in your lower back. Okay. Come back up. Cross one leg over the other, and we're going to head into first a seated figure four. This one is great for anyone that's been experiencing any type of sciatica, any type of nerve pain. You'll find a lot of relief from this one. So we're going to hold here for a second. We're not just going to jump right back out of it. We're really going to make sure that we're giving this stretch the time that it deserves. Keep going, keep holding. If you're the motorcycle, that's my fiance. Getting the first nice ride in of the season. And now you're just going to cross those legs, cross the lower leg, and we're heading into fire log pose. This one is great for those hips, and it's also a good opportunity to stretch the upper body a little bit more. So for this one, I want you to cross one arm across the chest. You're going to use the other arm to pull that arm back into the chest. If it's comfortable, look over the shoulder of the arm that's across the chest. Keep holding. Now switch arms. Bring the other arm across the chest. And look over that shoulder if it's comfortable. Now I'm going to ask you to switch. We're going to head into that fire log pose on the opposite side. Give yourself a second. I believe I did this side last time, so let's see. Yeah, that feels a little bit better. You know, sometimes you might forget which side you're on. It's completely normal. We're relaxing. We're letting our mind go for a minute, so take a second and try to remember where you are. That's all right. This is yoga. Yoga is supposed to be comfortable. So if anything feels uncomfortable, you're going too far. This is your time. This is for nice flexibility, regaining the mobility that you usually have when you're not so tight. So take this opportunity. Now we're heading into fire log pose on the other side, and for this one, you're going to lift one arm up, and we're going to head into a tricep stretch. Just hold, and when you feel comfortable, You're going to pull one arm, and if you have the flexibility, you're going to use that other arm to get a deeper stretch in that tricep. Keep holding. Find that breath. And now switch arms. Bring the other arm up overhead. Got a really nice stretch down my side body with this stretch, not just my tricep. Great job. And if you feel comfortable, you can bring that other arm down and use it as a little bit of leverage. Now we're going to bring our legs out in front of us, and we're just going to do a little bit of a windshield wiper with our legs. Open up those hips, open up the muscles of the back. Sit up for one more second. Stretch out those hamstrings. Make sure that they're not the reason that we're feeling any discomfort. Hold here for a moment. I want you to cross one leg, bring the other leg, cross that leg, so that you're in eagle pose. Sit here for a second. Try to get both sits bones on the floor. Try to make sure that you're even through your front. You want your knees just about on top of each other. And if you feel comfortable, cross those arms in front of you into eagle arms. So what you're going to do is you're going to bring them across like this, bring them across again, and then touch the palms, for those that haven't done it. And if you'd like, you can lift and lower those arms. You'll really feel that in the upper back, releasing any tension. Release. You're going to bring those arms behind you, lift up the arms and get a nice chest stretch. And if you can, lean a little bit forward. Only lean until you're comfortable. Don't push yourself too hard. This is yoga. This should be nice. This should feel relieving, especially if you're having any sort of back problems. We want to make sure that we're not making it any worse. So only go as far as you don't feel any sort of tweaking in your back or anywhere else that you're working with an injury. You're going to extend the bottom leg. Keep that top leg crossed. Pull it in for a second. Then you're going to hook that opposite arm around that knee. For me, it's my left arm around my right leg, but it depends on which leg is up for you. And if you can, look over that back shoulder. This is a great spinal twist. You'll feel this in your upper middle and a little bit even in your low back. Center, hold for one more second, and release. Now we're going to head into eagle pose on the other side. Bring that opposite leg underneath this time that you had last time. Bring opposite arms on top of each other if eagle arms is comfortable for you. We can head back into the lifting and the lowering of the arms. Release. Keep holding. Clasp those hands behind the back. On this side, I'm going to stay up. I know that it won't feel comfortable for me, so I don't want to make anything worse. I'm just going to stay where I am. Tuck my chin towards my chest and hold. Okay. Now, if lotus pose is in your practice, feel free to try it. If not, just sit in a comfortable seated position, whatever that is for you. We're going to return to that Ujjayi breath again. Because to stretch the muscles of the back, we have to make sure that we're relaxed. release the cross of those legs. And then you're just going to roll over those legs into an all-four position. Start by just shaking that tail from side to side. Releasing any tension in the inner and outer thighs. And then we can turn it into, once you start getting comfortable, we can turn it into a little bit of a circle. Releasing the tension through the whole range of motion of those hips. Switch directions. Okay. Now we're going to do a few rounds of cat-cow. So breathe in. Bring the chin in towards the chest. And curve the back while contracting the abs. And then release. And release. The contraction. One more time. Chin in towards the chest. Contract the abs. And release as you exhale. Releasing everything towards the floor. Let's go through a few more rounds. You're going to come back into a child's pose. Really trying to push back, push those glutes back with those hands. And hold. Now come forward, tuck the toes, and we're going to lift up into a downward facing dog. Pedal those feet. Try to get some of the tension out of the ankles. Maybe roll back and forth from a plank into a downward facing dog if that feels good for you. And then finally, we're going to hold a static downward facing dog for a few rounds of breath. And finally, we're going to come forward into a plank and slowly release down to the floor. Once you're there, we're going to push up into either a cobra pose. If that feels better for your back, I'm going to head into an upward facing dog. And then a puppy pose. For the puppy pose, your hips should be right above your knees. Your arms pushing back. You should be feeling a nice stretch in your lower back. Now you're going to lift up slightly and cross one arm over the other. It doesn't matter which one you do. And then you're just going to hold. This one's great for any type of upper back tension or pain if you spend a lot of time at a computer. This one really releases a lot of that tension. Switch sides. Cross the other arm under. We're going to push back up into that downward facing dog. Now take a slow walk. And if you need to and you don't want such a deep hamstring stretch, put your hands on your knees, like your elbows on your knees like this. And slowly adjust. We're going to slowly roll up one vertebrae at a time. until we're in a nice standing position. We're not going to be here long. I know that you can't see me. And we're just going to roll back down. Do this a few more times. Roll up one vertebrae at a time. Bring those hands up over your head. And then come back down. This really helps you come back up, one vertebrae at a time. It helps you with your muscle memory for when you're standing up to stack your vertebrae. Now we're going to step out long, and we're going to come down into a wide forward fold. I'm going to hold steady here if it's more comfortable for you. You can bend one knee at a time. Now I'm going to turn towards the front of my mat into a nice runner's lunge. Ooh, that's a good crack for my ankle. Now we're going to hold in this nice low lunge. We're going to drop that back knee. Continue to hold. Great job, everyone. Feel that great stretch through your hip flexor. Now you're just going to walk that leg across into a pigeon pose. There's not going to be a ton of active poses today. We're really working on restoration. So I wanted to transition you guys into this pose, but now figure out wherever you're comfortable and keep breathing. When you're ready, come back up. You're going to tuck that knee back under. Come back into your plank. Shift forward and back. We're going to take a quick second to strengthen that core. Our core is what supports our back. So it's good to get a nice plank in there to get some quick strength before we move on. If this is causing you pain, come down into your knees. Now you're going to step forward with your opposite leg into that nice runner's lunge. Shift back and forth. When you're ready, drop that back knee. Feel a nice stretch in that hip flexor. Make sure that you're keeping those inner thighs engaged and pulling towards each other as though you're trying to pull the legs together. That makes sure that you're not putting too much stress on that SI joint, making sure you don't irritate any sciatica that you have going on. I want to make sure I do that. Then you're going to walk that leg across and come down into pigeon pose on the other side. If you have to, take a minute to adjust before you lower. Hold for a few more rounds of breath. You're going to lift back up, bring that back knee back, and we're going to hold for one more plank. After this, we're coming down onto your back, so just hold for a moment. Sometimes it feels good to strengthen things as we stretch. Now I want you to come into our last standing forward fold. Now that we're warmed up, I'm going to cross one arm over the other so I can get a nice stretch in my upper back. lower down into a nice Malasana squat. As I say all the time when I do this move, this one is fantastic for that lower back. It's fantastic for the whole spine. It automatically puts, as long as we're doing the pose correctly, obviously, it puts us into a great anatomical position with a little to no curve in the upper back, just a slight one, a slight curve in the thoracic spine, and a slight inward curve of the lower back without having massive degrees of a curve. That's not what we want. Hold for one more round of breath. Feel the grounding nature. A lot of times if our back is out of whack, you'll find that your energy will be a little bit off. Things will be going on with you because you don't have a full line from the top of your head to the bottom of your spine. You're not able to interact with your environment the same way that you usually would. Put your hands behind you. Put those legs out straight. And now with the help of your hands, slowly lower down onto your back. Once you get there, windshield wiper your legs back and forth. Get a nice stretch. And also open up the back from the floor. It's a bit of a different sensation depending on where you are. Now I want you to tighten your abs. Pull your knees in towards your chest. And if it's comfortable for you, rock back and forth. Now extend your left leg out in front of you. Continue to hold the right leg in. Maybe give that hip flexor a massage by rubbing the leg across your rib cage. Back and forth. Very small range of motion. And you're going to take that leg, cross it over, and head into a nice spinal twist. I'm going to bring my hands up into a T shape. You can extend your arms as well. When you're ready, come back up into the center. Cross that right leg across the left leg, and then pull the left leg up into your chest for a seated figure 4 position. Rock back and forth across that lower back. Feel that nice release, hopefully. We're going to hold here for a couple rounds of breath. Now you're going to lower both legs. Extend the right leg out straight. Bring the left leg up into the chest. And give that hip flexor a massage if it felt comfortable on the other side. And if it doesn't feel comfortable on this side, stop. Your body works differently. There can be muscular imbalances that you can start to see from this position. Then you're just going to cross that top leg over the bottom leg and head into a nice spinal stretch. A nice twist. Hold here for a couple rounds of breath. Come back over, cross that left leg over the right leg, and bring the right leg up into the chest and hold. I'm going to hold behind the knee on this one. If it's comfortable for you, find a little motion. If your back is a little tweaky, I would suggest staying still and just holding. Now release both legs up into the air and just hold them here for a moment. Keeping that low back pressed into the ground. If it's comfortable for you, come into a happy baby. You don't have to go super deep. Just find a little bit of relief in that low back by pressing it into the floor, getting a nice stretch through those inner thighs and hip flexors. Now I'm going to ask you to cross one leg over the other. Bring both legs up into the chest, and you're going to pull down on the feet if it's comfortable for you. and switch legs. Now before we head into Shavasana, I'm going to give you a couple of rounds of breath to play. Do whatever move feels good for you. I'm going to head into just some hip circles, and then a little bit of a running leg. I don't know what you'd call that, but that's what I call it. Just to get any last bit of tension out. For anyone that has upper back knots and is feeling pretty stable, you can head into this plow, I've heard it called, a plow position. It all depends on what you call it, but this one feels great for the upper back. Now everybody come down. Extend both legs out in front of you. Find a comfortable position. I'm going to lay on my jacket. And now you can breathe in your nose and out your mouth. Do a quick body scan and see if you have relieved some of the tension that you came here with. If you feel like you're a little bit more grounded, you're a little bit more flexible through that spine. We worked on a little bit of strength, a little bit of flexibility. It's a great way to get your whole body moving. It's working with the spine. It's connected to everything, all of our extremities. So if there's tightness anywhere, it's a good idea to get that spine moving, to get it back into a good place. If you'd like to stay in this corpse pose, feel free to pause the video. But if not, I want everyone to wiggle their toes, wiggle their fingers. And for people that are having a bit of a low back problem, I want you to roll onto your side and then press yourself up. Anyone that's pregnant here knows where I got that trick. Now we're just going to take 2 big breaths. I'm going to turn a little to the side so I have some room. You're going to breathe in and out. One more time, in and out. Thank you all so much for joining me. Please remember to stay kind to yourself, to stay flexible with yourself. You might have had big plans to do something, but remember that it's the consistency of our workouts. It's not about each day did you get a workout in. It's over the week, how many workouts, over the month, over the course of the year. So if you feel like something is starting to hurt or like you might be overtraining, I really would suggest taking a break. Not from working out completely, not from all exercise, just maybe take a break from weights or heavy cardio, go for nice long walks, do a little bit of yoga, give your body a chance to have some restoration, especially if you're a person that works out on a pretty consistent basis. It's a good idea to occasionally find some time for yourself to just restore, rebuild. You're really putting a lot of pressure on your body every day, so we want to make sure that we're also finding time to come to our mat, take a deep breath, find some emotional awareness, figure out what's going on with us, because we also hold tension when we have a lot of emotions that we haven't dealt with. So coming down to our mat is a great thing, because not only does it allow us to deal with our physical tightness and blockage, it allows us to deal with our emotional tightness and blockage. So I hope that you enjoyed this. I'll probably be posting another yoga video tomorrow, along with a little explanation of what overtraining feels like, what it looks like, and some ways to fix it if you think that you might be overtraining. Thank you guys so much. This is Kat, strong, not skinny. As always, thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you guys all soon. Hopefully back for some a little bit more heavy-duty workouts. You know, that's what I like. Thanks, guys. Talk to you soon.